Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. I welcome you all in today's lecture. I hope you all have been doing fine and in good health. Let us begin today by an important notice for all the students of the JAG board. You all must be aware that due to the ongoing pandemic situation and problems in conducting classes online, the syllabus has been reduced by the Jharkhand Academic Council for both the first and second year students. So this year, for the elective English of second year, the syllabus of poetry has also been reduced. Therefore, you do not have two poems by William Blake and the poem Trees by Emily Dickinson. So overall, there will be three poems which will not be there in your syllabus for this year. Okay, so specifically it is for this year. We do not know about the next year or the coming years. We know that these three poems will not be asked in your examinations for this specific year. Okay, so since we were unaware of this and this notice came some time back, so I have already done one poem by William Blake, as you must have seen in the previous lectures. So now what we will do is we will skip these parts that are not in your syllabus, and we will do the remaining poems as we have been doing. Okay. So we will skip William Blake's second poem and also Emily Dickinson's poem, and we will now move on to the next poet in your syllabus, that is Samuel Taylor Coleridge. The poem of the poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge that has been prescribed in your elective syllabus for second year is Kubla Khan. Let us first see what the introduction says in your book. Please follow the text. If you do not have the books, please follow the text on the screen. Samuel Taylor Coleridge was an English poet, playwright, philosopher, and critic. What is a playwright? One who writes plays, okay? And philosopher, you all know. And what is a critic? A critic is a person who gives his feedback or his views about any piece of literature or any piece of writing. So we have film critics, we have book critics, we have different kind of critics who tell about different kinds of literature that is written. Okay, so Samuel Taylor Coleridge was a critic of literature. Okay, so he was imaginative even as a child. So when he was a little child, even then his imagination was great, and he studied at Cambridge University. In the year 1797, he met William Wordsworth. Now, you all must be aware who is William Wordsworth. Okay, he doesn't need any introduction. He was a very famous English poet. So, Coleridge and William Wordsworth were very good friends, and for some time they were also great influences on each other's poetry. Like they were friends and they spent a lot of time together, and so they also influenced each other's thoughts and their each other's poetry. Okay, so these two writers, these two poet friends, they belong to the first generation of romantic poets. Now, what is romantic poets or romantic? This term romantic is not as simple as it is generally understood. Okay, so for any common person, the word romantic is something that is always associated, say, with love. But for a student of literature, and we are students of literature, so for a student of literature, it is much more than simply these ideas about love. Romanticism was a movement. It was a huge movement or a kind of revolution, you can say, in the late 18th and mid 19th century. Okay, and it had philosophy, it had freedom, it had ideas about nature, about the life experiences, etc., etc. So it was a very huge idea, and it was a kind of a wave that emerged, and it affected the mindsets of people, mindsets of that generation, not only in England but all throughout the world. and in the type of poetry that was written, okay, both during that period and after that period. So it had a great influence on the future writers as well. So you will read more about romanticism and what kind of poetry was there in the romantic, in this romantic genre, okay. So you will more read more about it if you take up an honors course, maybe in future, in literature. So at this stage, it suffices for you to know that these two poets and these two friends, that is Samuel Taylor Coleridge and William Wordsworth, they were the leading writers or the first generation of romantic poets, okay. So they had in a way pioneered this romantic poetry, okay. So let us see further what is being said. Coleridge was responsible for presenting supernatural as real, and Wordsworth would try to render ordinary reality as remarkable and strange. So, it is an interesting fact that is being talked about over here, that when these two poet friends they decided to write romantic poetry or usher in a kind of a revival or a new wave of romanticism, so what they did, they decided that Coleridge would write, or his duty would be to present the supernatural things or the exquisite things that are beyond natural. What is supernatural? Something that is beyond the natural surrounding in which we live, okay. So when we talk about the word supernatural, we imagine ghosts, we imagine fairies, we imagine god, we imagine angels, we imagine all that we cannot see or really is sense with our sense organs, okay. So his work was to present these supernatural or exquisite or unreal or extraordinary things or events in the simplest form, and to show them as real, so that the people who read those the poetry in which he wrote here, they would kind of imagine these things as real, and they would believe the supernatural things, okay. So his duty was to convince people about supernatural things and make them appear real, okay. Now Wordsworth's aim was completely opposite to this. What was decided, that Wordsworth would try to write about real and ordinary life, things that we could see around us, things that we could feel with our sense organs. All these things, he would write about them in a very extraordinary or a strange manner. So you can see the difference. The first one is totally opposite to the second, okay. So their duties were totally opposite. So all these things that they were required to do, this was not something very easy, as you can imagine. Writing something real in a manner that it appears very extraordinary, and then writing something extraordinary in a manner that appears very ordinary or real or believable, is something very difficult, okay. And it is a hard task, and it requires great writing ability and imagination. And so when you will read the poems of these two writers, you will see the great amount of talent that they had in writing poetry, okay. So the introduction tells us that Byron, Shelley, that is Percy Bysshe Shelley, and John Keats, they also belong to the next generation. They belong to the next generation of romantic poets. So they came after these first generation poets, okay, and they were the successors of Coleridge and Wordsworth, okay. So now let us see what is written about the poem that we will study. The genesis of this poem was a vision seen by Coleridge in a trance like state of mind. So, in simple terms, if I explain this to you, it means that this poem, that is Kubla Khan, this poem took birth in Coleridge's mind or imagination in a trance like or a semi conscious state. Like he was not fully in his senses when he imagined this poem or when he wrote this poem, okay. So it was a trance like state or a semi conscious state of mind. Now it is a fact that everybody knows that Coleridge was an opium addict, okay. So he took doses of opium, and he was addicted to this opium, and he had these abrupt sleeping cycles. Okay, so he wrote this poem in such a state. Okay, and when you read the poem you will see that all this background to the poem is can be seen in the poem, which is really very difficult to understand. It is not very easy to visualize the images that he talks about. Okay, or the kind of imagination that he has used. Okay, he tried to capture the essence of whatever dream he had seen in that trance like state, in the through the use of words. So while writing the poem he was interrupted by somebody, and then he could not finish the poem. So you can see that the title of the poem says a vision in a dream, a fragment. So just like this poem, many of his other poems were also left incomplete and are read as fragments. Okay, so you can see many of his poems are fragments, or they are incomplete poems. This poem specifically it talks about a Chinese emperor, a Chinese emperor whose name was Kublai Khan. Okay, and this emperor, his palace was named as Xanadu. His palace was called Xanadu. This is important for you. These objective type questions can come in your exam. Okay, so this palace belonged to Kublai Khan, and all this was the history of the Mongol Empire. Okay, so it is generally accepted that in this state of mind that I just talked about, in the opium influenced state of mind, Coleridge wrote this poem, and he was actually reading about all this history of Kublai Khan and Xanadu, and then he slept. And when he slept, he had already taken this. Opium, and he was influenced under its influence, and so when he was sleeping he saw a kind of a dream. Okay, and when he woke up suddenly he started writing that dream in words. He started writing it down as a poem, but unfortunately what happened that somebody came, like he had a visitor or somebody who interrupted his writing, and then he could never complete the poem. So it is a fragment like many other poems. So it was written in the year 1816, so that is quite long back. Okay, so this was all about the poem and the poet. I hope you have understood about the basic idea, what we will read in the poem, and about the poet, a great deal about the poet. If you are interested you can go to the internet and you can search more about the poet and the poem from different sites. Okay, in the next lecture we will hopefully do a line by line explanation of this poem. Okay, so until then please read about the poem, the poet, okay, and the poem itself. So until then, take care of yourselves. Thank you and see you.